Hey, what's going on, guys? Saptesh here, back with another video. Now, if you've been following my channel, I've been really excited about Zen 4, that is AMD's Zen 4 Ryzen 7000 laptop APUs. The real Ryzen 7000, that's what I'm talking about. The 7040 H series or the 7045HX series. The real Ryzen 7000 with the 4 as the second last number, okay? Now, after waiting for months, making several videos, hyping you guys all up, we've been waiting a long time for this APU to be launched in India, like the laptops with this APU. And after several delays and all that, we finally now have Ryzen 7000, real Ryzen 7000 laptops in the form of the Asus TUF A15. So the Asus TUF A15 launched. I made a video on it, right? I made a couple of videos on the Asus TUF A15. It's a very good laptop, the latest generation TUFs. Okay, it does come with the 7940HS, an incredible CPU. I'm going to talk about it in a bit. So it did launch, okay, but the problem is this is not the correct variant that I was waiting for. Okay, see, the problem is the Asus TUF A15 did launch with the Ryzen 9 7940HS, but what I was expecting is a laptop with a full HD display and something like a 512GB SSD, so that we only get the necessary improvements. That is, we get a better CPU and the better GPU in the form of RTX 4060 or 4070. What Asus did was they launched the latest CPU and the GPU, but along with that, what they did was they also gave us a WQHD display that that is 2560 by 1440p and DCI-P3 color gamut, 100% DCI-P3, and also it gave us a really overpriced 1TB SSD. See, they did not give us the option to have the 7940HS with the RTX 4060 along with a full HD display and a 512GB SSD. But thankfully, there is one company that has come to the rescue, and that is Acer with their latest Acer Nitro 16 laptop with Ryzen 7000 Zen 4 APUs, RTX 4060, and at a really reasonable price. That is great. So we're going to talk about this laptop and why I'm excited about the Ryzen 7000 7040 series. But before that, if you are new to the channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. Also, consider joining the Telegram community. Link is down in the description. Engage in tech discussions, get reviews from people who actually own these laptops and discuss with them, ask your questions and get solutions and all. And yeah, I'll see you soon in Telegram. With that said, let's get right into it. So first of all, let's take a look at the specifications of this laptop. All right, so this thing is coming with the 7840HS. Now, you may ask a question, hey, this is coming with the 7840HS while the Asus TUF is giving us a 7940HS. Is there a difference? No, there is no difference between the two, guys. The only difference is that the 7940HS has like 100 megahertz higher boost clock. They have the same cores and threads. Okay, the 7840HS boosts up to 5.1 gigahertz, whereas the 7940HS boosts up to 5.2 gigahertz. That's all. There is literally no difference. Okay, and then in terms of the display and all that, the Acer Nitro 16 comes with a 1920 by 1200. So it's a really quality of life improvement. If you are a productivity person, working with programming, or like you're using spreadsheet programs and all that, 16 by 10 display is really great. So they are providing us with a 1920 by 1200, which is basically 1080p resolution stretched to 16 by 10, right? And the display goes up to 400 nits. That is pretty incredible. Based on the price of this product, that is good to see. That is great. It's a 400 nits display, and then we don't have any overpriced SSD on all. We have a 512GB SSD. There is another SSD slot inside this laptop. That is fine. Okay, coming to some more critical aspects, like more important features over here. If I scroll down, you can see that it does have USB 4. Now, here's the point. The Asus TUF A15, right, does have a USB 4 port that supports, the full 40 gigabits per second standard, which means it is backwards compatible with Thunderbolt 3, and so you can get like Thunderbolt docks and all those things. You can connect external GPUs and all those. But I am not 100% sure if the Nitro 16 also has a USB 4 port that is capable of 40 gigabits per second. I am not sure about it, so don't take my word for it. We are yet to find it out. But it does have a USB 4 port, and according to AMD, all laptops that include the USB 4 port must have the full 40 gigabit per second speed, full 40 gigabits per second bandwidth. So I can assume that the Acer Nitro 16 also has the full 40 gigabit per second bandwidth. Okay, and apart from that, we have got some good port selection. Another important port is this 3x2 Gen 2 10 gigabit per second port with DC in, which means it supports power delivery, so you can charge this laptop using something like, I don't know what the power delivery rating is. The Asus TUF A15 can handle up to 100 watts of power, which is great. We don't know what the Nitro 16's rating is. That I assume it's also up to 100 watts, but we don't know for sure. Okay, but the good thing is, like I said, it does have USB 4 support. Apart from it, in terms of the battery capacity, 90 watt hours, so no compromise on battery as well. And you can see that Acer is claiming up to 10 hours of battery life, which is not inaccurate. The 7940HS, 7840HS are incredibly efficient CPUs. I'm going to talk about it in a minute, but yeah, it does have a 90 watt hour battery. And also in terms of the power supply, this is overkill. 330 watt power adapter. That is ridiculous. It must be pretty big in size, definitely, but 330 watts is pretty overkill. If it had something like a 280 watt power adapter, it would be plenty for this laptop, guys. RTX 40 series is very efficient, and also the CPU is also super efficient. So 330 watts of power adapter is just overkill for this laptop, but yeah, it does have. Apart from it, if I look up over here, you can see that the display has NVIDIA's advanced Optimus, which means you can switch on and off the mux switch without having to restart the laptop. For some reason, many laptops in 2023, especially the ones from MSI, the higher end ones, like the really expensive laptops, they are not coming with NVIDIA Optimus, which means every time you want to enable the mux switch, that is, you want to change the laptop to dedicated GPU mode, you have to restart. That is a hassle. But in this case, it has NVIDIA Optimus, which means you can hot swap the GPU. Basically, you can switch the mux without having to restart your laptop. Okay, so now I'm in the middle of the screen so that I can show you this entire graph that I have made. So here you can see the comparison of the last generation Ryzen 7 6800H, or if you have a 1500H, they are the same CPUs in terms of CPU performance. Then you have the i7 13700H, which is also again extremely similar to the i7 12700H. And then we have the latest Ryzen 9 7940HS, which is again almost exactly the same as the Ryzen 7 7840HS. They are exactly the same. What I want you to pay attention is on the left side over here, we have got the the power draw. So this is the TDP of the CPU on the left. And then on the right side, these are Cinebench R23 multi-core score at various power levels to show you the scaling behavior of these CPUs. So here you can see what is really amazing is that you can see that like at 35, 45, 55, all the way up to even like 75 watts, the 7940HS is considerably ahead of the i7 12700H or 13700H. They are the same CPUs. Okay, but what is the most impressive is that the 7940HS at 35 watts of power, just 35 watts of power, is almost equal to the performance of the the 6800H at 65 watts of power. So that is a huge difference. That is almost like 90% more power requirement for the 6800H. And remember, the 6800H is already very efficient, and in this situation the 7940HS will give you the same performance at the 6800H, but at only 35 watts of power. Do you guys realize how impressive this is? Every day we can talk about Cinebench R23 numbers. We can talk about higher and higher and higher performance from Intel CPUs, but we never talk about how much power it is using to achieve those scores. Guys, I hope you know that always such high power is not sustainable. High power draw means high temperatures, like lower battery life and all that stuff. So the fact that the 7940HS is able to match a 6800H at 65 watt, while the 7940HS is only at 35 watts. Like, just look how amazing this is. Like, at 35 watts, the 45 watts, 55 watts, 65 watts, the 7940H is significantly better than the i7-13700H, right? Especially at around 45 and 55 watt, there is a big difference. There's a big difference. In fact, the 7940HS at 55 watt, is almost the same as the 13700H at 75 watts. Why is it important? The reason I'm showing you this is because the basically what I want you to understand is that you can basically use a 7940HS or a 7840HS laptop in silent mode. You don't have to use the highest performance mode of your laptop, which turns the fans really high, which increases the power draw a lot, increases the temperatures and all that. You don't have to deal with those things. You can simply play your games at balanced modes or silent modes and still get great performance from the 7940HS. This is the benefit of having an efficient CPU. We see these benefits from the Apple M1 and M2 because they are so efficient. You don't need to push them so hard, and you can put them under in laptops which are thin, which don't need fans. They have great battery lives and all that. That is the importance. That is why the 7940HS is so impressive. Yes, you will have more powerful CPUs from Intel, but guys, power is not everything. Efficiency counts a lot in laptops. And here you can see that the scaling like the scaling characteristics, right? The Intel CPU, the 13700H, can go all the way up to 115 watts, and it can score a really huge 19,000 cinnamon score. But let me tell you guys, all these benchmark numbers that I'm showing you here, right, from 85 to 115 watts, if you buy a 13700H laptop or a 12700H laptop, it is very rare to see those laptops reach these types of scores, because these scores are almost like not sustainable. It is just good enough for showing off, but in the real world, most likely you are not going to sustain these power these power requirements. You cannot like sustain it. It'll most likely thermal throttle, and the performance will drop, and obviously the fans will sound like jet engines. Okay, so even though the Intel has higher power ceiling, higher performance ceiling, it is really impractical in my opinion. So yeah, just look at this, man. This graph tells you everything. I mean, at 65 watts and 55 watts or so, the 7940H is absolutely amazing. Like 16,600 points to 17,000 points at 55 to 65 watts. That is just incredible. Okay, so yeah. And lastly, regarding battery life, okay, let me just tell you this. The battery life on these Ryzen 7000 7840Hs and 7940Hs is just mind-blowing. It is amazing. So we saw that the Acer Nitro 16 comes with a 90 watt hour battery at 1920 by 1200p display, and over here I've got the review of the Asus TUF A15, which also has the 7940Hs and a 1920 by 1200p display. So exactly the same display and battery configuration between the Acer Nitro 16 and the Asus TUF A16. And you can see over here, this is Notebook Check's review of the same laptop, and you can see the amazing battery life over here, guys. uh, uh, Wi-Fi, web surfing, it gets around 12 hours 25 minutes of runtime, and in terms of video playback at 1080p, it's like 12 hours and 26 minutes. That is just incredible battery life from the 7940Hs. That is why I am so excited for this CPU, this 7940Hs. It's a no compromise CPU. It will give you both performance, efficiency, and great battery life. That is why I am rating this Nitro 16 so highly. It is such an incredible laptop, and it is coming at a great price. So yeah, that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Link is down in the description to purchase these laptops. If you purchase from those links, it helps out the channel monetarily. Also, if you're new to the channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications, and also join the Telegram community, guys. It's a budding community. Engage in tech discussions, get reviews from other people, solve your problems, and have fun. So that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.